Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Simon, over there. Yes, thank you very much. We want to start the workshop today and welcome everyone. And we thank God for the journey mercies for those that traveled in the morning and those that came yesterday in the evening. So, my name is John Oluwande. I work at Tegemeo Institute as a research fellow, and I'm going to be the moderator for this or facilitator for this workshop. So to kick us off, I want to welcome Lilian Kirimi, a colleague at Tegemeo, to open for us with a word of prayer and for less than a few minutes, take us through the program of the day. Welcome, Lily.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see all of you, and we are excited that we are starting a day well. So let's start with a word of prayer. Our Father and our God, we thank you this morning that, Lord, you have watched over each one of us. Thank you for journey mercies for all of us that have traveled to this venue. And we are praying for colleagues that we are expecting to join us. The Lord, you also give them safety as they travel. We commit this meeting into your hands, our Father, praying that you give us guidance, direct our discussions, that, Lord, this meeting will be a success, and the things that we'll discuss will be important for our sector and the economy of our country broadly. We thank you, Lord, and pray for our participants that are here physically and those online. The Lord, you give us a great meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So now I'd like to just quickly take you through the program of the day. I hope you were able to access the program from the QR code that you received. Were you able to do so? Okay. And I don't think we have it. Can we display it, Anthony? Okay. Okay, let me just take you through this. If Anthony is able to display it, we'll do so. So we have can I call it a full day meeting running from now, hopefully up to 3:30 p.m. today. And what we are discussing the whole of this day is work that Tegemeo Institute has done under the project on impact of digital agro-weather advisories on productivity, resilience in farming communities in Kenya. So later we'll tell you a little bit more about that project. Had several objectives, but today we'll be focusing on one of those objectives in our presentations. And I need to mention, even before I continue, that we have participants online. Some have been waiting for us to start for quite some time. I'd like to apologize for keeping the online participants waiting for so long. For some, it's late. I think it's after midnight. For Professor Mills, I think it's after 10 p.m. or close to 10 p.m. for one of the participants who will be speaking. And so we apologize for starting late, but we hope we'll be able to catch up as we go on. So, in terms of the program, we'll have an opening session, a brief session where we will hear from the director of Tegemeo Institute and also hear about the All-In initiative. All-In in full is advancing local leadership, innovation, and networks. And we'll hear a little bit about that from Sarah Ameso, who is a representative from ICE. ICE is the International Center for Evaluation and Development. We'll also hear from Tara Chu, who is a representative of the FTA Innovation Lab for Market Risks and Resilience at UC Davis. And then we also hear from Professor Brad Lins from Virginia Tech, who is our mentor in this project. So that will be the opening session. That will be followed by session 2, where we'll hear about the CASA project. You'll hear the link between CASA project and what we are doing in Tegemeo in that session. And then we'll have a tea break. And during the tea break, we'll also have a photo session. And after that, we will be sharing the findings of the study on the impact of digital agro-weather advisories. So we have a time to make the presentations on that specific objective of for our project. After that, we have a lunch break, and after lunch, we'll have a very interesting discussion on the findings that will have been presented just before lunch, and then you will have a wrap up and closing session with a little bit of presentation on the developments that are taking place in the space of agro-weather advisories. We'll hear from Carol and Kenya and KMD, and then we will be closing at that point. So at this juncture, I want to take it back to the moderator or facilitator. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Lillian. Just to remind you, or to let you know, the program is on the QR codes. If you scan the QR codes on the pillars, the upper one, you'll get the program. And then the lower one will take you to the project webpage. There you can see all the materials that some of which will be presented today here so that you can access them online. So just scan the QR code, the upper one, to get the program, and then the lower one to take you to the project web. So I would like to welcome Professor Barrett Didion, a director to Tegemeo Institute, to give his remarks and open the workshop.
Thank you very much, John. I didn't hear you clapping for our Dillian, Dr. Kirimi, who just gave us an overview. Please give a hand of applause. Yeah, please. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm very happy to stand in front of you, and on behalf of Tegemeo Institute of Egerton University. Tegemeo in full is Tegemeo Institute of Agricultural Policy and Development, so popularly known as Tegemeo Institute. On behalf of the Institute and on behalf of all the staff that work in Tegemeo, it is my pleasure to welcome you all. I wish to acknowledge the presence of, firstly, Sarah. So, thank you very much for joining us today. Online, I'd like to also acknowledge Tara Chio. I'm sure wherever she is hearing us and she's with us. I also want to acknowledge Professor Rafford Mills, who is also online. I hope you have an opportunity to hear. I also wish to acknowledge here in our presence Mr. John Nginyange. John has been a partner with us during the implementation of the Kenya Climate Smart Agriculture Project. Thank you very much. Welcome. I also want to acknowledge representatives from the national government, Ministry of Agriculture, at the county level, representatives who might be here. I also want to greatly acknowledge the presence of the farmers who have made it possible to join us today. And the Kenya Meteorological Department, you are also highly acknowledged. Your contribution in this project is also well recognized here. So, having said all that, I think for me it will be just a brief to say I'm happy to have been part on behalf of Tegemeo again to have been part of this project. Although it is coming to an end, I don't think it is come to a stop, because I want to imagine that as the team was conducting this research, there might have been some point when it recognized some gaps, which obviously will require further inquiry. And so, Sarah, now that you are here, those gaps will be identified, and I hope you'll be in a position to follow it up and possibly work together, find some support which can then enable us to follow through those gaps that might have been identified. So I am really pleased and looking forward to a very interesting interaction from you, the participants. They too have done research or who have led this project led by Dr. Masik Mao and the team. I think um, uh, we really recognize you as a team from Tegemeo for having led all this project up to this end. And you look, as I've said, I'm looking forward to possibly continue to address gaps that you might have identified along the way. This is what we do in Tegemeo. Part of the monitoring, learning, and evaluation. We do have expertise in that area. We also do conduct policy research, which then provides empirical evidence we support policy decision-making process. In Tegemeo, we also do conduct capacity building. And finally, we do outreach, where we exchange then information that have been generated from the research with the stakeholders. We work also closely with the government through the Ministry of Agriculture in providing, again, evidence which informs decision-making process. In the interest of time, and with those very many remarks, I want to take this opportunity right now to declare the workshop open, and wishing you a very good interaction and fruitful interaction as well. Thank you very much. MD, moderator, facilitator. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Bade. And now we are set to proceed with that official opening, having did that. I just wanted to also recognize our partner, Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization, that are also represented here, Akalro. And now we are going to hear from Tara Chu. Tara Chu is professor at University of California, Davis, and she's working with the Future Innovation Lab for Markets, Risk, and Resilience, through which this project was funded. So Tarachi is joining us online, and now Tara, please, you can proceed if you can hear us. Hello, Tara, can you hear us? It seems you can hear us, but we can't hear you. So could you just hold on a bit? Hello, Tara, can you hear us now? Yes, we can hear you.
Mm. Sure. Sure. Organizer lubindo na opportunity make some remarks. I'm here to meet the trajectory be the future innovation lab for market truth resilient. I'm sorry I've been unable to hear the presentation to this point because of technology difficulty, so please forgive me if I'm repeating anything that's already been said. So by way of introduction, the mission of our innovation lab at University's California Davis is to generate and transfer into actors innovation, buildability, resilience, keeping rural individual, household communities, and markets in positions of economic viability from which they can sustain and accelerate economic with agricultural growth. In addition to funding research building and the building of the pathway of local execution, we all hoping way down work into policy documents and outreach events like this one that integrate our finding into an effective voice called policy priority, options for governments, NGOs, and others to support youth reduce poverty. So the challenges of poverty and resilience are dynamic and changing. Sustaining and making the most of this kind of economic innovation really requires shifting the locus of control. Historically, models for U.S. funded research began with a U.S.-based researcher proposing a project and bringing in host country researchers. After decades of this approach, however, what appeared that it's time to take an additional step is time to put them up. In the design of our innovation, we've recognized that to effectively reach our mission, you need to shift the research leadership to economy and activity. So all in, the Advancing Mobile Leadership Innovation Network was created under the B2B Innovation National Market Risk and Resilience in partnership with International Center for Evaluation and Development. This is a research grant program that supports local research leadership and innovations need development challenges in a way that is inclusive, effective, and sustainable. All in advantage of local leadership and innovation among still adapting researchers, allowing them to instead be the one to define the research priority and service the eyes on large-scale research target. So the way all in is designed is to provide historically under-resourced economic research communities of resources it need to fully engage and further develop. And the programmatic design will utilize local diffusion here pathways to local quality. So in creating our research portfolio, we invited proposals from researchers and institutions that have still talents and ideas for impactful research, even if they're lacking in experience implementing and managing large-scale research projects. As part of this, the All-In Collaborative Spain ICE MR Innovation Lab provide needed and appropriate support to researchers and their project managers in developing capacity, manage, and lead this kind of award and others of similar nature in the future. So the structure provides the opportunity for institutions, both researchers and staff, to learn by doing and collaborate with mentors and peers in the management institutions. Right now, All In funds full research projects each to budgets of up to $500,000. With this level of investment, roughly half of the research projects supported by the MR Lab are led by researchers from the country of study. All Around really had research projects that span all three of the themes that are supported by the Innovation Lab, which includes resilient escapes from poverty, financial and agronomic innovations for inclusive growth and resilience, and resilient systems for broadly based agricultural growth. Local researchers are uniquely positioned for research agenda setting and engagement for policymakers in pursuit of these objectives. They define research priorities based on deep knowledge of local issues in the history, systems, and cultures behind them. Their local knowledge and connections enable them to strategically approach policymakers, while their consistent in-country presence fosters long-term relationships and trust in a way that U.S.-led research is not always able to do. All collected recipients of the research funding under All In were onboarded as part of an independent cohort, but then become part of the MR Innovation Lab's broader research consortium. It's provided the opportunity for future areas of inquiry and both broaden and deepen the research networks for our participants, including both our Africa-based and U.S.-based PI. As the initiative has been progressing over the past 5 years, we've seen the model success through a lot of things, including increased visibility of the contributions of local researchers, increased recognition and utilization of local research expertise, increased engagement of local policymakers, practitioners, and implementers, and increased investments in locally led research by international donors. So one example here is that as All In researchers generate findings from their research under this initiative, they're increasingly sharing these findings in international fora, both with the support of ICE and MR, but also independently through their own direction of leadership and finding opportunities. One example I'll share is the Washington, D.C.-based ITT for Ag conference that was focused on local ID impact. This featured one of its panelists, Dr. Mercy Kamau, who you will know well today, sharing her experience and work as an All In PI on the impact evaluation we're going to be learning about. So our research participation at this and others global events demonstrates both the depth and breadth of the impacts of the investments made in locally led research, as well as a growing international recognition of the contributions being made by in-country researchers. Impact evaluations like the under discussion today are absolutely essential ways to rigorously test ideas and innovations that must meet the development challenge we face. With scarce public and donor dollars, it's essential not only to generate new ideas, but to test their impact carefully and impartially. Research approaches like this are necessary to responsibly invest in innovative development solutions. At the MR Innovation Lab, we're hoping that our efforts to increase the global development community's recognition of the immense African-based research excellence and impact evaluations and other methodologies really inspires increased investments in locally led, demand-driven research that will speak to the priorities of practitioners and communities alike. We've seen momentum in the global community and shifting toward investment in local institutions, including the All In initiative specifically. We seek to enhance our existing partnerships and build new ones to continue this momentum. I do want to take this opportunity to say that we're honored to have been a part of the supporting the start of this initiative, including the project we are going to be sharing more about today. We hope this incredible work being done by our researchers at Tegemeo and beyond continues to inspire global development community to commit to evidence-based policymaking and invest in locally led research. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Tara. And thank you for joining us online. And we hope that next time we'll be able to come over. We still have a project going on with the MRR, and we are still going to continue interact. Thank you very much. So at this time, I want to call Sarah Meso. Sarah Meso is working with the International Center for Evaluation and Development, through which the management of these research projects that Tara has talked about and have been managed in the 12 other in the countries where they have been implemented. So, Sarah, please welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here. To the director of Tegemeo Institute, thank you for making time to join the research team in this occasion. All protocol observed. My name is Sarah Meso, as I have been introduced, and I work for the International Center for Cooperation and Development. So I would like to just give us a brief of the relationship between, I'll use ICE a lot, it's the short form for International Center for Evaluation and Development, and the University of California, Davis, and Feed the Future Innovation Lab. So we Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Markets Risk and Resilience gives the funding. So we get the funding through UC Davis. UC Davis is the University of California, and then we go ahead and manage the funds to support the local researchers, the 12 that have been mentioned. So we provide technical support as the International Center for Evaluation and Development, and also operational support, just to make sure that the researchers are in a good space financially, and also if they need any technical support to that effect. So we work very closely with the University of California, Davis, and very closely with the two teams at Tegemeo Institute. So the Center for Evaluation and Development, our headquarters is in Nairobi, Kenya, and we have offices in Ghana. We are an independent Africa-based, Africa-led, not-for-profit data that applies innovative research, monitoring, and evaluation in the development sector. So, as we may know, there's a push for localization, and that is what OLIN is all about, to ensure that we have research being led by the researchers that are based in the areas that the research is being conducted, and that's what ICE lives for. Our vision is to see a global south where evidence drives policies and actions for transformation of lives and livelihoods generally. So we briefly ran about 21 research projects with different, not only with the OLIN, but also with other innovation labs. We host 3 innovation labs, Feed the Future Innovation Labs. The Markets Risk and Resilience is one of those innovation labs. Then we have one from the legumes, and the other is horticulture. The legumes innovation lab is at the Michigan State University. I would like to recognize my colleague who leads that lab, Simon, the chair her. I hope I said it correctly. Yes, he's over there. Thank you, Simon. And then our key strategic priority areas are capacity strengthening. We have since moved on from capacity building because we believe that the researchers or the teams that we work with have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. What we are actually doing is just to strengthen their capacity in some areas. So yeah, we since moved on from the term capacity building. Then collaborative learning, we learn together with the different teams, and then evaluating impact, monitoring programs, and encourage research for yes. Flipping the model. Tara talked about this. I don't want to dwell on it so much, but the essence of the all-in is to, when we say flip the model, is to bring the power to the African researchers to be at the center stage, to define the research problem, to go ahead and implement the research, produce the evidence and share the evidence like we are doing here today. And that is one of the key aspects that we do not want to miss in this, to ensure that whatever has been collected is shared with the people that need to hear it. And we hope that together we can be able to use this evidence to influence the decisions that are being made. So this is in collaboration, like I said, with MRR and ICE. Yeah, so I wrote dwell much on that because but just to give us a background, a request for proposal was sent out. We received about 165 proposals in total across Africa. And then we had reviews being done by 2 teams. And so we had 64, 28, and down to 12. So it was a very competitive process, and I would like us to clap for Dr. Mercy and Dr. Lwande. Out of 165, they made it to the final 12, and that was not an easy. So yeah, like they mentioned countries in 9 universities, higher institutions of learning. Tegemeo is one of the lucky ones. We have 2 projects at Tegemeo. Most of the institutions actually just have one across. And then we have, so in East Africa, we have Tegemeo and Lahore University. Then we have Lilongwe University in Malawi, Gonda University in Ethiopia, the University of Ghana in Ghana. And then we have Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, University of Energy and Natural Resources still in Ghana. So we have 4 projects in Ghana. And then we have Ilorin University in Nigeria having 2 projects, and Ahmadu Bello University in Nigeria. So we have a total of 12 of them. Yeah. So like I said, we have 2 projects. One of them is the one we are discussing today. We'll hear more about it, led by Mercy Kamal, and that is impact of agro-weather and market information on productivity and resilience in farming communities in Kenya. The other one is led by our moderator of the day, Dr. Lwande, soil testing for soil acidity management on smallholder farms in Kenya. So just to share, Tara actually shared a lot of this, and that's why I just want to quickly run through it. But we have these organizations or other institutions categorized in 3 different tiers. The first tier, where Tegemeo lands, and Makerere University. They have experience managing large research grants. And then we have the second tier that does not have a lot of experience managing research grants. And then we have the last tier that does not have any experience. So like mentioned before, all-in wants to strengthen the capacity not only of the researchers but also of the institutions. So we didn't throw away the 3rd tiers because we want them eventually to get to the first tier. So the 3rd tier is working very closely with the International Center for Evaluation and Development on a monthly basis to ensure that we strengthen the capacity of their grants in terms of funds, management of funds, and also the technical aspect, so that in the next, should there be the next phase, they should be able to move on to the next tier. Yeah, so but many of the Feed the Future all-in projects are direct collaborations with policymakers. Like this particular project is collaborating with a number of other arms within the government. And so we don't work in silos. We work in partnership and in collaboration with the different projects. Yeah, translating evidence to action. That's why we are having this meeting today, and we hope to have fruitful discussions with all of us contributing and taking note of the gaps that could be there, and making sure that this information lands in the ears that need to hear it, and we be advocates of using evidence for action. Yep. Asante Sama, and I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
Thank you, Tara. No, Tara. Sarah. Sometimes the names I confuse the names. Thank you, Sarah, for that elaborate explanation about Olin and about ICE and how we collaborate among the institutions. So next, we are going to have one of the research partners from Virginia Tech University, that is Professor Mills Bradford. He is the professor at the Department of Agriculture and Applied Economics, and he has been working with us as a mentor, and he has been part of the research team that has produced the research products that if you scan that web page, you are going to see a lot of research products there, but also what is going to be presented. He is joining us online, so Professor Bradford Mills, please welcome.
Thank you. Can you see the slides up there also?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. And I want to particularly thank the Tegemeo Institute and Dr. Trammell and the research team. And I'm very glad to be able to participate in this workshop today. So it's I've served the role of mentor for this project, and that's somewhat of a new role for me. That has been very rewarding for several reasons. First of all, I've had long-term collaborations with Kenya and PIs on these projects, so it's always rewarding to work with people who I've been able to work continually over time. And then secondly, this role of mentor is it's new and has already been mentioned. It's a change in the existing role. But usually when we have develop projects and set agendas and then try to find collaborators to where in this project, the Tegemeo Institute and PIs have taken a lead role in identification of issues and goals. And the role I could have mentor is really to provide technical assistance to really help them and implement the project and do what they want to do. So it's already been mentioned by the both previous speakers. That's somewhat flipping model that we've worked on. It's really a joy to see that and to see that as becoming an increasingly prevalent model for how we implement research in sub-Saharan Africa. So, with that said, let me talk a little bit about kind of impact evaluation generally, and maybe set the tone for what we're going to do today. And when you think about impact evaluation, what we're trying to do is we're trying to assess changes in well-being of individuals, right, that can be attributed to a particular project, program, or policy, right? And the key here is this word attributive, right? So we're going to focus on attribution. And what we're going to be trying to do is identify causal relationship. How has the program changed in specific outcomes? And in this case, on outcomes being the well-being of farmers' lives. So, and to do that, we need a high standard of evidence. So did, for instance, income increase because of this project, right? And in doing that, can we eliminate other factors that may have caused changes in farmer income, such as weather, price policies, and all the myriad of other things that were occurring in the same time was this project. And really kind of focus on, did the project intervention cause the effect that we were observing? And the other thing here then we're going to do is we're going to focus on outcomes. And not on outputs. So often we look at a project, we have outputs or how many messages were sent, how many farmers received messages, these type of things. But we're going to try to go beyond that and look at how are we making a difference in people's lives. And those outcomes of things like changes in income, changes of food security, changes of health, or changes in education. And to do this, then we really are trying to develop a high standard of evidence. And to do that, you're going to need to have very skilled and impact assessments. And that will entail carefully planning out how you isolate program interns. And ideally, that's done before you implement a project. So you design kind of almost what we call an experiment, where we can see exactly how is the project having these impacts, generating these outcomes. The second part of that is we need skilled implementers, and I think that's what we have in this case when you look at the Tegemeo team that have been able to put together, and then you need human and financial resources. And I think we can be happy in this case that the All-In project has been able to come together on these resources, or the people and finances to address the issue of how its agro-weather information are generating impacts, and in terms of those incomes, those impacts on people's livelihoods. And then the last thing I really want to touch on today is we go through and you look at these results, is why are we conducting impact evaluation? And I think the key thing here is really learning. And what can we learn? So in this case, there's the question of is the causal link between the intervention and expected outcomes sound? Right? So when we look at the outcomes, can we really generate and observe the rigorous causals to the project? And then the second thing, are we measuring the right outcomes? Well, you look at different things. For instance, one example, if we were looking at drought-tolerant varieties, and we want to look at the outcome maybe of that approved and drought-tolerant varieties, we wouldn't want to be looking at increases in average yield, right? Because what those varieties are targeted at dealing with is providing stability on that increase in income, right? So we want to be looking at other things such as household food security. So in this case, are you looking at the correct outcomes? And then, of course, there's the big issue, is the project having the expected income impact on outcomes? And we need to take this and kind of look at it objectively. And if not, why not? And in doing that, what we're doing it because we're looking at, well, how can we improve future project outcomes? And that entails this openness to learn. So I think I'm challenging everyone as we go through the evidence here to have that openness to look objectively at the results that we're getting. And one thing, how can we do it better? Two, what can we learn from what we're seeing? So and I think what we're going to see in this case, we go through the results, is that the project impacts are elusive. One of the challenges in what we're going to look at is that the construction of the impact assessment was less than optimal, in that we don't have a true control here, in that we were never able to generate kind of a randomized group of farm households with which we withheld treatment, which weren't exposed to in this case, hazard weather information, right? So we're trying to play catch up and without kind of what we're doing here, and generating what we call pseudo control with the people to remember, similar to random income. You took the same farmers who were targeted by the project, but did not receive badly their issue. So we have that challenge to start that we didn't really have the control that we would like. And then we have the hard question here that we need to address is why in a lot of cases this is a clear evidence of impact. And I think that can be broken down into two parts. But the first is that, and we do seem to see that there is evidence that message delivery was effective in this case. But what we also see in that is that the impacts of those messages are fairly unclear in terms of the different outcomes we get at. And one of the hard questions that I came to look at is the message content part of the issue here. And we probably need to do a deeper dive into the content effectiveness of the message is being delivered. So again, I'm just raising a couple of the issues that we'll grapple with or with the rest of the day here, and I hope we can approach the results today and the questions that they raise in the spirit of learning. Because I think in the end of the day, that's what an impact assessment really is about. It's helping us learn and improve crucial program design and implementation. So I think with those two words are close here. Again, express my gratitude to Tegemeo Institute for hosting this gathering to review the results of the work that we've done, and again for letting the participants very interested in the excited for project. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Mills and Tara, for taking your time to stay up late to participate in this opening session and the workshops. We acknowledge and appreciate your commitment. And we apologize for starting late, but I think we have caught up now with time, and now we are within time. So we invite you that you have some more strength. Please continue staying with us as we proceed. And thank you also to Sarah for coming, driving all the way from Kampala to join us today. We are grateful for that. So we are going to the next session. But before we go into the next session, now to hear about the KESA, that is Kenya Climate Smart Agriculture Project, agro-weather advisories, and how it was implemented. We are going to take some exercise just to know who is in the room. So we are going to be guided by Anthony. Anthony, please guide us.
Thank you, everyone. So we are ready to participate in very short session. Yeah. All you need is scan a QR code, and once you scan the QR code,
Keep sponsor needs and duplicate this space.
yep. So there you are doing good. So you raise your phone to scan the QR code. Yeah. You can scan this QR code using your phone. If you have a QR code scanner, you can download one from the Play Store if you don't have one, or you can use the Google Lens. You can go to your Google app. There is a camera lens. It might take a minute or so, depending on the performance of your phone. If you're not able to do that, you can use that URL and the digits as the password to take you there. Are we there? Let me know. At least. Wait. We are ready to go. Anyone who is not ready to this, anyone who has not been able to, okay, you can really try. So I'll take you through. I'll take you through from here. And what you do is you give an answer depending on the question and then you submit. There is a submit button. Now we go ahead. Okay. So you can enter your name. One name or both. See. So you have Sarah, John, Oma, Kelly, Nicholas, Nicolin, suspicion. Daniel Owino, Joseph Opio, Bellistas. Make sure your name doesn't duplicate. You wonder. Kuna mtu ako na jina kama yako alafu na ask this. We have 16 so far. 16. Okay. Well, we have 18. I think we are good. Yeah, we can go to the next step. Let's see. Select AI. And once you select, you can submit. There's a submit button. Good. Okay. Looks like the gentleman outnumbered the fields. Lays out. Hey, ladies. Okay. Very few. Think you should go ahead? Yeah. Oh, we have you around. Una GZ. Still can go ahead. If you have not answered that one, you can submit. Good. Okay. Yeah, anyway. Well, you need to start for the academia. Don't you have farmers? Wakulima. Oh. Tunawatafuta hapo. Tunawatafuta kwa fujo. Tungeweza hata wangepewa wengi zaidi. Yeah. Good. We can go ahead. If you could give the weather personality, what would it be? Ikileta maneno. Slave. If you could give it. Chameleon. Rat. Kai. shock. They know. Hmm? But the crashes unpredicted and subtle cancers confuses villain. The person. Oh, we have a code. These are somebody that gave me a number. Cool. Wow, do you have more to add? It looks like this is good for us. So, we are happy to receive you. Thank you for participating in this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anton. At least now we know who is in the room. We have all categories of us, and we have an idea about what we are going to discuss. Agro-weather advisors, and we have seen the kinds of names that we have given the weather. That means we need good advisors to help us understand what to do when the weather brings what we don't expect. So, to set us up, we'd like to welcome Mr. John Inyandi, who was a very key in the implementation of Kenya Climate Smart Agriculture Project, the basis on which this project was implemented. And Mr. John Ginyangi was the National Project Coordinator of the KSAF. But before that, he was the monitoring and evaluation officer of that project. So welcome, John, and set us up.
Thank you very much. Ziti. Not very. Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is John Ginagi, as the name mentioned. I was the Kenya Climate Smart Agriculture Project coordinator, which we have crossed very successfully. We have worked very closely with the Tegemeo, Courtesy director here, also other institutions like KMD, Kenya Meteorological Department, CARO. We have interacted very, very closely with the Tegemeo through midterm evaluation, through report evaluations. So it is a team that we've been working very, very closely with. Now, this is the outline of my presentation. Yes, in the Kenya Climate Smart Agriculture Project, we have contributed very immensely to the agricultural sector transformation and growth strategy, which commits to increase outputs, productivity, and also household incomes plus food security. So you can see, and we are very much in line with the works of research for Tegemeo. And this project actually also is in line with the Kenya Constitution 2010, which talks about food security in Article 43, that every person has the right to be free from hunger and have adequate food of acceptable quality. We are also aligned with the government transformation agenda. This is the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The issues of data and digitizations in the project. We were working in 24 counties, 6 of which are in arid areas, as you can see. Then we also had 9 in semi-arid counties, and also medium to high rainfall areas. This project, PDO, the project development objective, was to increase
the agricultural productivity, resilience, viewed resilience is climate change risks in targeted smallholder farming and pastoral communities in Kenya. And in the event of an emergency, then the project was also meant to address that. There are three triple wins for the project. You have the issue of productivity, resilience, and also to reduce greenhouse gases emissions. Now, this project had 4 technical components. The major one, which we are calling it the upscaling of climate smart agricultural practices. This is what took the lion's share in terms of the funding, 60% of the funding. We had the component 2, which was dealing with research and seed systems, 20% of the funds. And then also, in line with the project, Dr. Masi here, supporting agro-weather, market and climate advisors. That one took about 2%. Then you have the coordinations component. And as I said, the emergency response, which we didn't have any funding for that. We didn't plan for that. But in the case of an emergency, that would have been addressed. We want to mention here that possibly some of you know the project called Emergency Locust Response Project. This is a project which was born out of this window, and we were able to give about 1.4 billion shillings. The project is ongoing. It is going to close in March next year. This is the pictogram. I'm sure this diagram is very familiar with the Tegemeo team. It has always been there in our documentations. And what we are trying to say here is that these 4 components do not work in isolation. So you can see the connectivity between project component 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 is about, as I said, research and seed systems. Here is where we used to develop or generate teams, technologies, innovation, and management practices, which are implemented in the counties. So component 1 is majorly county component, because that is where you have the actions. That's where you have the farmers. So these technologies, the management practices, once they have been developed, then they are implemented through various videos. We had the first video of micro projects per day. For this, we used to give about 1 million shillings for farmers to establish kind of demonstrations, and then from there they could upscale in their own farms. Then component 3 about agro-weather and market information, and very much aligned with this project that you're going to hear discussing today. This is component 1. I said this is one for implementing the technologies, innovation, management practices that have been developed by other components 2. So all the research, we started by first of all providing the available technologies, which are in Karo, which are in all other NAS areas, NAS institutions, that is National Agricultural Research Systems, in the universities. So then after providing, some were ready to be implemented directly by the farmers. Others, you have to take them through adoption trials. And also, you had another video for new technologies. And for that, and also research work in collaboration with the universities, Tegemeo, for new technologies. So I think I've talked about this again, component 2 for research and seed systems. Yes, this is very key because it's the component which finance development of agro-weather, forecasting and dissemination tools, and of marketing information. These are meant to improve the long-term capacity for adoption of the climate smart agriculture tips to help and to help to sustain agriculture intensification under the changing climatic conditions. Yes, I want to dwell a little bit on the component 3 and demonstrate some of the achievements which were able to achieve. For this, we can start by informing you that we have already registered about 6.5 million farmers grow to the country, and out of these, 4.8 million are receiving agro-weather and market advisories. With KMD, you are able to support the agro and hydromet stations. In total, we are able to install 154 of those automated weather stations, 120 of which are synoptic, 17 agrometeorological, and 17 hydrometeorological. I'm sure you shall be hearing more about this, the KMD stuff. And these sessions actually report on nitrate basis to the big data system. We have a platform at the Caro, whereby the analytics are done and then disseminated to 4.8 million farmers. Yes, this is the big data infrastructure, which I'm sure possibly Caro will be talking more about this. And here the efforts is to actually disseminate these information on timely basis and location specific. Now, this system again is meant to tell about what the farmers may need to do, when, where, and how to produce. I've talked about the teams, technologies, innovation, management practices. So far, we've been able to profile almost 1,600 technologies through the various options. Like I said, it started by profiling whatever is available. Then we need some trials for adoption and also some new technologies to applied research. Again, through Caro, you have these information, toll-free number for disseminating that information. The number is there and just free of charge. Then about marketing, because all these things are connected. We need to produce through the teams, and you have to produce, and for first and foremost, for enough for the farmers to feed. That is, we are addressing food security and nutrition, but you should also be able to take some to the market. We have already profiled about 235 markets, and we are reporting information, whatever is going on in those markets within the country. And this information is actually accessible to other countries in the world. We have 70 of those countries in Africa, Asia, Australia, Europe, Middle East, North and South America. So all this information is accessible to this system, which is anchored under the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Headquarters. And from the ministry's point of view, we are reporting on bi-weekly basis about the trends on the markets, the partners, and all that. What are we demonstrating here is about now relating all this market and weather. Because as I said, technologies, we need to improve production so that we can address food security and therefore contribute to increase the value of contribution of agriculture to the GDP. And I say it again, if you remember the first diagram, we are addressing the better agenda, which is about improve food security, improve the exports, and to reduce also the food exports, food imports. That is a type of food imports. Yes, lastly, this is a quote from one philosopher, Mother Teresa. that we can do great things. Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with it to that. I think Daktari is here. She has done a lot. So, and also with the lab and with the support of all of us, that is where you have the success of this project demonstrated today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. So we have had what the CASA project was doing, and specifically what it was doing in terms of providing agro-weather and market advisories. So we are now going to hear about how this project linked, rather this project on which we are discussing the results today, linked with the CASA project to implement the interventions that were implemented. So Dr. Mercy Kamau is going to leave us up on that. So welcome, Mercy.
John, thank you. Good morning. We are really excited to have you all. We are really, really happy that you chose to be with us today. Thank you. My idea is to talk about this project, the All-In project, the one that was supported under this initiative. It's a Feed the Future Advancing Local Leadership, Innovation and Network Plan. Means funded by USAID, Feed the Future initiative through UC Davis and the HEIST initiative. So our project is on impact of digital agro-weather advisories. So Mr. Ginyangi has talked about KSAP and component 3. Component 3 is on agro-weather advisories and market information. And we thought that was really innovative and helped the interests that it triggered within the Tegemeo fraternity, the research team, that it is innovative, it is new, and it was countrywide, at least in 24 counties where the KESA project was running, was being implemented. And I thought this was a great opportunity to learn from what was going on. Our project sought to determine the impact of agro-weather advisories. So in this project, we have myself, Dr. Lilian Kereni of Tegemeo. She will lead. We have Hilary Bay. Please wave your hand. He's also in this project. And we have our colleague, John Borrow, who initially worked with us, but he is now at Virginia Tech with Professor Mills. He got a chance to further his studies. So under this arrangement, we have Professor Mills, who is our mentor. And guidance, we can ask him questions. He comes to be with us sometimes. We undertake activities. And also, we actually incorporated him and we became one of the researchers. So we thank him for his commitment and all the assistance that he has provided. So, most of agriculture in Kenya and in the region is rain-fed, right? It's rain-fed. So the literally is driving the food and agriculture sector in Kenya and in sub-Saharan Africa. I think in Kenya it's about 100% is irrigated. So the weather literally is running the ag sector. So, but we know that the sector faces many challenges, challenges and risks. We have poor degraded soils, inefficient input and output markets, and climate change. So our project has been looking at this challenge of climate change, which threatens the ag agricultural output and has negative implications on food security and livelihoods, as you have heard, and economic growth. You heard that from Binyangi as well. And it affects agricultural productivity because of the rainfall variability and extreme weather events. Hence, it increases the riskiness in agriculture. And by doing so, by affecting the health sector, ag productivity, it increases the vulnerability of people who are dependent on it for their livelihoods. And as one hopper has said, it disrupts food markets, posing population-wide risks to food security. And hence, this illustration is from one of the World Bank publications. It's an old one, but it shows just the climate and weather vulnerability to climate and weather changes. These are extreme events. You can see droughts and over the period between 1990 and 2012. We have had several droughts and also too much rainfall and other things going on. So this shock normally affects the ag sector. But coming to where we are now, we looked at the data that we collected, looking both at the KSAP baseline. Tegemeo conducted a baseline for KSAP in 2020 and the end line. And what we see is that many wards where we did our study, many of the wards, if you look at let me see if I can use this. So we're looking at rainfall shock in many wards, so at the baseline and at the end line. In many wards, at the baseline, you see 98% of those wards where we did our study, 98% underwent some shock of rainfall, too much, and most of it is a negative shock. Negative shock means they receive less rainfall than they would, much less actually, as 2 standard deviation. And at the end line, we found that nearly 30% of the households experienced a negative shock. Positive are less common. This is the season, main season and short season. Positive are less common. But negative shock are really common. Of course, there are households that did not households. These are wards that did not experience a shock. So, a shock is a rainfall shocks are major events in the ag sector. So we know that there is increased variability in the onset of rains, change and the cessation, which means that the length of the rainfall seasons are changing, and of course those extreme events. And this makes the tried-and-tested sources of farmers' information on rainfall patterns, on cropping calendars. The tried-and-tested information that they have from what they know is becoming less and less reliable and less useful for decision making. Hence, because of this, but let's look at the variability. These two graphs, this is MAM and OND season. March, April, May, October, November, December rainfall seasons. You can see that year on year. This is 1990 to 2020, high interannual variability in the amount of rainfall received. This is the amount of rainfall received. In the next graph, we're seeing high interannual variability in the onset of the rains. Here you see this is the onset. These are the number of days. I think this was about 84. Is the average onset of the, is this MAM? Yeah, this is MAM. But you can see that from year to year, you see there's a lot of variability. So the farmers really cannot rely on what they already know or what they knew before, that this is the onset of the rain. And then also in the next graph, we see the life of the season, which means the rains are the same variability. We see that the length of the season varies a lot from year to year. Cannot say that this is the time we plant, or this is the time we, the rain stops, or things like that. Hence, because of that variability, we are saying that dependable, and that's what KSA project is all about, dependable probability on the onset of the onset dates of the rainy period and the length of the season is critical to farmers' decision making. It's very critical for our food security. And hence, then science-based climate information services, we are abbreviating it as that, has a potential to empower farmers, including the very small farmers, in climate vulnerable regions of Africa. It has potential to help them mitigate farming risks and enhance household resilience to climate change. Yeah. So to help farmers make adaptive operational decisions to maximize economic gains during a drought season, so they can maximize their gains and they can reduce losses in bad seasons. So that's the importance of climate information services. And so comes in with the government, with the Kenya Climate Smart projects. Because, the Kenya Climate Smart was also a World Bank funded, GOK funded project. Which I just repeat a little bit, maybe not directly what Kinyangi said. So in component 3, they were delivering situation-specific climate information service by localization, very close to where the farmers are at the world level. High resolution, but that world level and specific to farm enterprises, specific to the value chain. It was high frequency. They were serving several times in a month, up to third time. Farmers would receive information and they would readily access this information because they were sharing this digital on the farmer's phone. So they would receive this information on their phone. So it was timely and it was relevant. That was the idea of KSA. And then it was also in the farmer's preferred language and is equality and at the stage of growth. So they got information about when the farmers are, beginning to plant or the life cycle of the livestock. At the alien survey, so there was a business which Tegemeo was involved. But through this project of early, we conducted an online survey, in April 2023. By that time, KSA Cairo had transmitted as weather advisories for 3 cropping seasons, the OND of 2021, MOM 2022, and OND of 2022. So given what KSAP was doing, KSAP and the implementing partners who are Cairo and the KMD, these are our research objectives of this project. This project had 5 high objectives. This is the only research project. The first one was to assess the relevance and suitability of teams that are being promoted in mitigating impacts of climate change and weather variability. So by using data from KMD, knowing the teams that are being promoted, we could look at that and see whether that variability the teams are speaking to that one is still ongoing. The second objective was to evaluate farmers' access and use of agro-weather advisories and how it differs by gender and poverty status. That is the inclusiveness of gender of digital agro-weather advisories. And the third one and the main one was to assess the impacts of digital agro-weather advisory and information delivery channels on farmer behavior, productivity, and resilience. We also thought to assess farmers' willingness to pay for agro-weather advisories and hence, thereby inferring the sustainability of agro-weather services. This is a study that has been concluded and shared through various. And the last one was to strengthen capacity in impact assessments. As Professor Mills has just been talking to us about the importance of conducting impact evaluations or impact assessment of development projects. And so we have held various trainings via webinars, physically with our partners. And just through these talks, we have continually been talking about impact assessment and why it is important. And even then, we still continue doing that. That is one of the major areas of Tegemeo's ticket is with the Policy Research Institute. We also have a measurement, learning, and evaluation unit where the emphasis is to undertake rigorous impact evaluations for the ag sector. So, from the work that we've been conducting in this project, we have conducted examination and outreach, and this is one of the outreach events. And so our stakeholders in this project are the funding agencies, of course, the implementing units for KSAP projects, and other related interventions in the Ministry of Agriculture and Development. That was the name of and then also researchers, academia, and the private sector. All of us are stakeholders in the results and in this work that we are undertaking. In dissemination and outreach, we've been creating awareness, as I said, about the study, the objectives, findings, and the learning and the approaches that we can use in impact evaluation. And then, of course, we have to translate that information into different products so that we can reach different audiences. Why was this study important for impact? It was intended to generate evidence for decision making. So at the Kenya Climate Smart Project at the county and the national levels, those funding the projects, as well as other players like the ones who are here in this forum, who plan to roll out similar interventions in Kenya and the region. This information is relevant. The approaches, the questions we are asking, and the information, the results are very important for that audience. And then, of course, we talked about strengthening capacities, not only within the institutes and other people in academia, but also even in implementation, even those implementing skill transfers to researchers, partner institutions, and other people who are working in the ag sector. The policy relevance of the all-in projects, the estimates that we have generated would enable policy and decision makers to compare impacts, to know first of all the impact of this intervention, and to compare with other evidence of other investments that are being made, and determine how best to invest in the ag sector. And then the evidence generated is also to inform how to make agro-weather data more accessible and by the users. Remember, we did a willingness to pay, and then the findings are applicable to the region as well. They are applicable. So that's the way and wish to that project, and just want to acknowledge support from your side. As I said, is through the Future Innovation Lab for Markets Risk and Resilience, and also in partnership with ICE, the International Center for Evaluation and Development. And to our partners who are implementing this project, the government of Kenya, through the Kenya Climate Smart Project, Kenya Met Department, and CALRO, we really appreciate the collaboration and support that you have accorded us from the beginning, and even now that we are seeing this project, you're still with us, and we really appreciate and look forward to further work together. Asanteni sana. Thank you.
Thank you, Mercy, for taking us through how this project linked with Salsa. Now, we are going to hear now the results of the project to see what impacts did those Afro-weather advisories bring to the farmers. So we are going to have a break. And we are going to have two activities during the break. One is the usual activity of taking tea, coffee, and stuff like that. But before that, we need to go for our photo session. So Anthony is going to lead us to where we are going to have the photo session. So from here, we just go to the photo session. Then we come back to this room, and behind there is where we are going to have the tea and the coffee and the snacks accompanying that. So thank you very much. Anthony, over to you.
Thank you, Doc. The photo session will be at the poolside, and we will follow the photo man. You follow him to the poolside. Yes. Thank you.